All right, Bob, we got to start with the trade deadline. Did the Mariners do enough?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, they picked up two guys that I think are really unfamiliar to most baseball fans. Unless you're a hardcore fan, you don't know who those guys are. The only reason we have any kind of real recognition is because they just played a series with the Diamondbacks. So what to expect with two guys who have had limited time for different reasons this year? You look at their stats, and they have not played many games between the two of them. The stats aren't overwhelming for this year. What that means moving forward, I don't know. They failed to make a big splash. I think people wanted them to bring in a name maybe they've heard of, like, okay, we know what this guy brings to the table, and he's going to help. You brought in two unknowns that may or may not help you. I don't know. I'm not ready to go, oh, they blew it, they should have done this. But in terms of reaction to it, people being underwhelmed, I get it. People don't know who these guys are. You look at their numbers and go, hitting 230 and one home run, yeah, fits right in. So yeah, underwhelming for a lot of people, but maybe they end up helping. We'll see.
All right, so you talked to GM Justin Hollander right after the deadline. What stood out to you from the conversation?
He feels like, I asked him, do you feel like you are now a better team than you were a week ago? And he said, yeah. All right, well, let's see. They don't have a great track record with who they brought in. You brought in 4 guys in the offseason, 3 of which are gone now. You brought in Teoscar, Colton Wong, Tommy LaStella, and A.J. Pollock. 3 of those guys are off your roster, didn't even make it through the season. So, and Cooper Hummel, who's been down in the minor leagues pretty much the entire time. And Teoscar, which, again, I love that deal. I don't blame him for it. Hasn't been what you were hoping. He had a brilliant month of June. July has not been good for him, wasn't good for him. Everything leading up to June wasn't great. So it's been a disappointment, the offseason and how the acquisitions have turned out. But I appreciated his candor and his acknowledgement of those moves, saying, hey, he put it all on him, which I think I can appreciate. I put some of that on ownership, as much as I asked him if he had the financial flexibility, the wherewithal to go out and get the big name if they wanted to, and he implied yes. I don't know if I buy that. I'll just say that. But that kind of stood out. They're still optimistic about this season, and I would hope they would be, because when we had that conversation, they were 3.5 back in the wild card. You were right in the middle of it. You're playing the team that's right in front of you in the Boston Red Sox in those wild card standings. As much as people are talking about 2024 and this will be good for down the road, I don't want to hear about down the road anymore. Let's wait till we get down the road to talk about that. You got a team that's in contention right now. That's what you should be focused on. Not, hey, we got control over this guy and he may be good down. No. Nobody wants to hear that right now.
All right, so let's talk about that. The Mariners tied for the best record in baseball in July. Are you pretty encouraged by that?
Yeah. There were 8 series. They won 6 of them. They tied 1. All 6 series wins were against teams over 500. We were talking earlier in the season, and the complaint was, yeah, they're winning, but look who they're beating. They're beating the A's. They're beating these teams that are under 500. Then they play a good team and they can't beat them. What'd they do leading up to the trade deadline? 6 series wins, all against teams over 500. So yeah, I was very encouraged, especially them doing it without Kelnick and a lot of guys that still aren't producing to the back of their baseball card. So they were finding ways to win the way they have the past 2 years, whether it's pitching, whether it's defense, offense, timely offense, which has kind of been their calling card the past couple of years. When you look at a lot of guys' end of season stats and you go, ugh, wasn't a great year. But that guy, whether it was Dylan Moore or anybody else, had really timely moments that turned into wins for this team. And it felt like you're starting to see more of that, where they were struggling in those moments early in the season.
Let's talk a couple of players who've been hot lately. What have you been seeing with Eugenio Suarez and Tom Murphy?
Well, Murphy, man, he's just hitting the ball hard. He is just consistent. He just looks like he's dialed in. He's got his timing down. He knows what he's swinging at. He knows what he looks like he's up there with a plan. Whether it's I'm looking fastball, I'm sitting fastball, and I'm jumping on the first one I see. He looks like he's really confident up there. And in turn, I'm really confident when I see him step up to the plate, which is pretty cool. And that was a name we were hearing around the trade deadline of somebody who could be moved. depending on the return, I would have been at peace with it, but I wasn't really excited about it, and I'm glad he's still here. So I'm just seeing a guy in him, and Gino, who seems like he's kind of shrunk his strike zone a little bit, that he's also kind of going up there with a plan, and you're starting to see some of the pop that's been missing in the first half of the season with the home run last night. And he looks like his timing is there too. He looked a little in between for a while, and he was kind of getting out in front of the off-speed stuff, and he was a little behind the fastball, and it just seemed like he was in between. Both those guys look like they're just dialed in, and they're stepping into the box with just a different level of confidence right now, and it's paying off, and they desperately need it.
What about a word about Gino's defense?
Spectacular. I mean, the other night, there were 3 guys that stood out defensively. Gino had 2 brilliant plays at third base. J.P. Crawford, who's been playing phenomenal baseball this year. I think he's been so good this year. And Ty France didn't get any love on the broadcast. He made a nice play on a Gino throw, pick the short hop, that made it look routine. He's turned into a very good defensive first baseman. I think we kind of take that for granted. So you're getting solid defense out of just about everybody there. But he's amazing. He's got such a strong arm, such a strong, accurate arm, and those are moments that are saving games. I mean, you need those plays when your offense can't be counted on night in, night out to give you 4 runs, 5 runs. You've got to limit the damage from the other team, and those are the plays that do it. And he's fun to watch when that's happening.
All right, last one. Let's make Jay Buhner proud. Can the M's forget about the wild card and catch the 2 teams from Texas and win the division?
Can they? Is it possible? Yeah. Is it likely? I don't think so. I mean, man, you look at where those teams are, and the Rangers had hit a bit of a speed bump before the trade deadline. Astros seem to be coming the Astros again. Yordan Alvarez is back hitting home runs. They bring Justin Verlander back. And then Scherzer goes to the Rangers. I feel like they loaded up. They made the splash. I think Mariner fans were hoping the Mariners would make at the trade deadline. And the Angels too, for their part. So you have the 3 teams in front of you all kind of go for it at the trade deadline. I think they can. I don't feel like it's likely. I know that's kind of riding the fence a bit. You want me to give an answer? No, I don't think they will. I hate to be the negative one. No.
Somebody's got to be.